Hey everybody, it's Jim and Warren, and you're watching Talking Vintage Vendor Corner. This is our new show.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. This is only show number 3 for Talking Vintage Vendor Corner. We've got tons of the other shows. We're in the 90s right now. I mean, if you count them all, we're probably over 100. But Vendor Corner, Jim and Warren, we are brought to you by Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, located at 502 West Brendan Road, Lakeland, Florida, 33813. We're both vendors there, and I'm the owner of the shop, so that lets you know our background and where we're coming from. But what is this show all about? This show is about people, or for people who are vendors at an antique mall or a shop like Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, or those that are considering becoming vendors at an antique mall or a shop such as Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. We're here to help you. Yeah, if we can, guide you, if we can,
Well,
and and promote you. We're here to help you. To help you all we can. We don't have a big format with this show like we do with the other show on Talking Vintage, which is our weekly show that we air for Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. It has lots of different segments to it. This one is really just welcome, tell you what the show's about, and then to go into today's topic. And today's topic is sourcing. Yeah, where do you get the stuff? People ask that all the time. They come into the shop and they say, where do you get all this stuff? Well, there's different ways to get it. There's different places to get it. You can go to yard sales, estate sales. You can get it from your family or friends. You can get it from a shop, your own shop if you have a shop or whatever. You can get it from neighbors. You can get it from Facebook. You can get it from shows. Am I leaving anything out?
Curbs.
Yeah, you can pick it up on the curb. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
We won't say dumpsters.
Yeah, there you go. We don't dumpster dive too much now. Okay, so each one of those places that you can source has its pros and cons, and we're just gonna step back a little bit and then start with each one of them and kind of go over those. Yard sales, we'll start with that. They're kind of hit or miss. You're either gonna find something or you're not.
Right.
You know, let's see. They're pretty good on pricing. I mean, because it's a yard sale, so right there you know you can negotiate, or I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, you negotiate,
people are trying to get rid of it. Yeah, and then I guess there's a little bit of expense in it because you have to pay for the gas, and there's travel time in it. So I don't know if it's a good or bad. I mean, if you want to get out of your own house, then it's good. But if you don't have the money to pay for the gas, that's bad. All right.
You can pick up some good stuff, like you said.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's somebody else is cleaning out their house too, so it's not always good.
Yeah, okay, so the next thing is estate sales. They usually have a good selection, probably better so than yard sales because it's somebody's whole life that they're getting rid of. The bad thing about it, it's expensive.
It can be.
It's expensive for the most part, and it's hard to make a profit off the stuff that comes from estate sales. Unless you go the last day like he does and you get the 50% off. But usually that selection that makes it so good is gone by the last day.
Usually, but you can still find stuff.
Yeah. So then the next thing is family, friends, and neighbors. Sometimes that's the cheapest way for you because they give it to you. But if you flip that coin, often they want you to sell it for them. Mm-hmm. So, and that's just that's a whole show probably by itself. But yeah, so it's good in the fact that sometimes it's just super cheap because it's free. And it's bad because, really, they're just asking you to sell it for them. And they don't understand that you have to pay rent and all that other stuff. If it's a $100 item, they're expecting to get 75 and you take 25, but yet you've done all the work. Yeah, difference. Yeah, that could probably be a whole show.
We could, yeah.
Yep. Then the next one is going to be Facebook or other social medias. That's limited. You're not going to find a ton of stuff on there. You're going to find single items. But if you're searching for something that you want to sell, example would be like comics or stuff. That might be a good place to find some to pick up to add to your inventory. either going to be expensive or not expensive. It really depends when you pick up on the particular ad. Did the guy just put it out? Did you want to get rid of it? Or are you the first one? You know, it could be inexpensive. You might just fall into something good, or it could be expensive. They want retail. They're just using it as a platform to sell their stuff. And I guess a good thing about social media, it's easy to negotiate because you're faceless. You're going through texts or messages. So, you know, you can negotiate, and if the negotiation goes wrong, you just kind of let it go. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about, or the next one, would be shows. You know, go to an antique show or wherever show you might go to that have stuff, vintage stuff. A couple around here, we go to Flywheelers, which is a tractor show. We go up to an area that has a car show, but they have all the kind of vintage stuff there. Good thing about shows is they're fun. You know, there's a fun factor in there. Sometimes you can get a good deal because if you identify yourself as a vendor, vendors at shows sell a lot to vendors. You know, if you've ever been a vendor at a show, the first day before the show starts, the days before the show starts, it's vendor to vendor sales. And it's often, you know, somebody has something that they can't get rid of anymore and they're willing to part with it and let you try to sell it. So it can be a good thing, but it can also be expensive too. You know, if you're going in the middle of the show and then they haven't made a lot of money, they're going to want money, or, you know, I guess that kind of goes the opposite way too. If they haven't made a lot of money, they might want to be getting rid of it. But so it's limited on the number that you can find. There's not a ton of them around here, and you have to travel.
Yeah.
And you definitely have to pay to park. Sometimes pay to get in the show. That's an added expense. So there you go. And then the last one, I think it's the last one. Yeah, this is the last one, is your own shop that you're in. You can go dealer to dealer. If you know, here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot, a lot of us have our own niche, and we purchase stuff for each other basically. So if Warren's into toys or whatever, you know, if I find a toy and I can pick it up inexpensively, I'll just pass it on to him, and then he can actually sell it and make the profit on it. If you're the owner of a store, we often have people that come in that are looking to sell items, sometimes even give them away. Giving them away is fantastic, and that's a plus of being the owner. The selling, not so much, because even though they say they don't know what they want for it, they have a price in mind, and it's usually full retail, and we are a retail shop. Why you would ever ask a retail shop to pay full retail to resell it, I don't understand that, but they do. So it's kind of a trap. You know, they come in, I have this, and I'm like, okay, what do you want for it? Well, I don't know. And I say, well, it's worth X amount of money, and I deal in thirds. I will tell you all that. My philosophy is I buy it for a third of the value, and then I try to sell it so that, let's just say that if you're bringing something into me, I'm going to give you a third of the value. I'm going to make a third, and I'm going to lose a third. It costs me a third to sell the item. So usually they want way more than that, and so yeah.
They don't understand.
Yeah. So whatever where you go to source, you know, whether it's a yard sale or family or friends or estate sales, whatever you do, you know, the buying portion of it, what you spend on the item, is probably the most important things, because that'll dictate what you're going to make on the item. And then after that would be the popularity of it. I mean, you can't buy something that's not going to sell, because it won't matter how cheap you get it. So there you go. So we've covered all the sourcing areas that we can think of, and we hope that we gave you some information maybe. So that's it for the show today.
Can they comment on this too?
Oh yeah, they can comment.
Okay.
We're on YouTube. So Talking Vintage, Jim, Warren, Vendor Corner. This is our new show. This is only our third show doing this. We have hundreds of the other shows, Talking Vintage, that promote Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot. But this is one specifically for vendors. So if you know anybody that's a vendor and they want a little insight, I know it's not the best show out there, but they can give us a watch. We come to you on YouTube only, and we are every other Sunday night at 8 o'clock. So join us next time, Sunday at 8 p.m. And yeah, you guys have
Put it
a
on your calendar.
yeah. Put it on your calendar. You guys have a great night. See ya. Bye.